The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the second day of what month is it? April already, right? April 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. Sorry, it's the fourth day. Sorry, no, it's the fourth day. Fourth day.
April 4th.
Where am I? Hold up. Let's start over. It's Thursday, the fourth day of the fourth month of 2024. Yeah, April 4th. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman. He's Larry Marshall Jr. and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Larry, I'm all over the place, man.
Yeah, is this what coming out of semi-retirement looks like? Because
yeah, this is my first full week. I had a great time. I can't even say it was like really work. That's why I say semi-retirement. Remember, Maya had me up there, working in 20-degree weather and stuff.
Yeah, I saw that. Was that your acting debut?
Yeah, and it was horrible, bro. I mean, seriously, I did like 15, 20 takes on some of those things. Do
you think you'll be up for an award? The award season isn't up, but I think I'm going to nominate it. Like,
you know what? Your boy. If I had to judge myself, Maya never asked me 1 to 10. I'll give myself an 11.
Okay. Yeah. Especially for a first time, you have to,
Yeah. That's new something. I could be something.
You can come up with a category for it, folks.
Come up with a category for me. Yeah, man. Yeah. But how's things been with you? You've been a year older for about a week and a half, and
yep, everything is just trucking along. And backing at them.
Yeah, we were talking about you yesterday, not by name, but we had I learned what a trichologist was yesterday, and I'm losing mine and you're gaining the grade, and
yes,
we balance each other.
I saw she was talking about pulling the hair, and I was it wasn't for me. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. This guy's sick. All right. Awesome Thursday. Jamel, Larry, and Maya, says Suzanne Engelman. Greetings to you. Greetings to you, Denise. B. Denise Hollis. She says, good morning, TDH. We've missed you, Denise. Haven't seen you in a while. Greetings, everyone. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Matthew Francis on from Atlantic Podiatry. We're talking about foot health. And what's interesting, I'm going to be honest, folks, I knew nothing about trichology until, I found out that Shapri Jo was coming on, and I went and read, and I was encouraged by her yesterday. I'm looking forward to the conversation with Mr. Francis today because I don't know anything about foot health. I mean, when I was young, I learned that Bob Marley had something, wrong with his foot, and, that's when he kind of learned he had cancer, but I've never thought of foot health as we think of other things, right? So yep. I'm looking forward to understanding the importance of foot health with Mr. Francis today. The Daily Players are named that place, right? So we'll see what Larry's got, because he comes out firing. His is pretty good with it. So we'll see if we can trick him up today. I'm trying to think, and I'll ask you, the audience, whether we should do a US-based question or an international-based question for the Daily Play, name that place. You let us know. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. But Larry, I want to jump into something this morning. We have so many conversations on this show. I mean, we're over 900, so we've had a lot. And something that, is a continuing thing in Bermuda is the fact that people lose jobs. Not enough people in the trades. Are there even opportunities in the trades? And I really think it's important for us to have a conversation about the trades and how we can encourage more people. And notice I didn't say young people. You know, Maya and Amber put a clip on our social media a couple months ago from Yolanda from Bermuda Air Conditioning, right? The BAC group. And when she was on, she spoke about being a woman as a plumber. And I was inspired by what she shared. But one of the things, I was sent this last week. I can't remember the company. Someone tell me if you have it, but someone in the audience sent me a clip, a link last week. It's a very big corporation where they're about to let a lot of people go.
Mm-hmm.
A part of that is they're going to help them write their resumes. They're going to, folks, what's the company? They just announced it last week. They're making thousands of layoffs, but they're trying to prepare people. I've had my position made redundant. I've been out of work before. And one of the things I said is that will never happen again. But what I tried to figure out is what skill set do I have to be able to provide for myself? And that's what a trade is. So let me just explain, like when people talk about trades, what they're talking about. A trade job generally refers to any job whose duties require advanced training or skills gained through the means other than a traditional bachelor's degree. So a skilled trade is usually a hands-on job, right? The question of the morning is very simple. And it's how can we encourage more people to consider trades? Not just young people, just people in general. I remember a friend of mine, cousin, he said at a dinner recently, he said, look, he has a maintenance business. And I said it on the show before, he's like, I should not have a job. People should be able to fix things in their houses.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is they can. But before you answer that question, audience, we're going to play this video for you real quickly. And thank you so much to Maya, always there when I need her, no matter what time I send it, but she represented. But here's a video. This is from someone regarding the construction industry in the U.S.
Crazy statistic. What do you think the average age is in the construction industry?
Some people say it's like 25. It's actually closer to 50. But the weird thing is, it used to be way younger. But for every 7 people that retire or die in the construction industry, only 1 comes in. Imagine your job site has 100 guys. 50 of them retire, and instead of getting 50 new guys, you only get 7.
How do they think 7 guys are going to get as much work done as 50?
They won't. And eventually, construction workers are going to become so valuable, they'll easily make over 100 an hour.
Interesting.
Right? Interesting. Audience, you've seen that video. First off, does anyone in the audience just answer yes or no? Do you have a trade? Yes or no? Do you have a trade, audience? Yes or no? Do you have a trade, Larry?
No.
No.
I have a skill sets, but I won't call it a trade.
Call it a trade. But I get you, because you do have a skill set. You do have something that you can say, I can go and do this to make money for myself.
Yes.
But an official trade, and trades, again, usually come down to, fixing things, a plumber or air conditioning repairman or electrician,
yeah.
mason, carpentry. Like those are some things that are listed as trades, folks. But do you have a trade? Just to gauge the audience, how many people in the audience actually have a trade? Yes or no? Mark Arthur C. Phillips says no. Kenton Trott says yes. Marquita Lee says my son, HVAC, which is heater, ventilation, air conditioning. I
think so. I think you might be all right.
If I'm right, man.
Somebody will let us. Somebody will let us know.
Kenton Trott says, I'm a certified tiler. There you go. Right? That's a trade. That's a trade. Anyone else in the audience, yes or no? Just even if you're not, just say no. But just want to get a gauge of the audience. Yes or no? Do you have a trade? Yes or no? We've got Suzanne Ingham says no trade, skill, I think. Marquita Lee says yes. Okay, we've got some people with trades. All right, so let's go to the question of the day. How can we encourage more young people to get into the trades? Like, how can we encourage more people? I'm sorry, it's not young. How can we encourage more people to consider trades?
I think I'm about to go in now, right, Hartman? I think we need a shifty conversation. I think trade has always been looked at as okay, I'll give an example. When I was in the schools, if someone was struggling probably academically in certain things, it was like, oh, well, let's try and get them towards a trade. Well, maybe they can pick up a trade, almost as if it's some secondary to the traditional learning. And I think when that changes and we look to include trades along with some of the other job professions that we're looking for, especially young people to do, or if I'm being honest, a lot of the, I worked in public schools, which dealt with a lot with black boys. It was okay, well, get them to go there, and I think it just sets us up to almost put us like we're second class. And I think until that changes, you won't really see a shift because the monetary aspect isn't displayed where they make good money, but it's not really talked about. It's just, well, yeah, you can work with your hands, and it's almost like you're not thinking. So I think the education part has to just be balanced a bit more in the terms of how we express it, because it just seems like it's not on par with international business, doctors, lawyers, and those types of things. And I think that's an issue.
You make a lot of good points, Larry, and I want to emphasize that because it's almost like, and we can't cuss on this show, but we're crapped on. Like it's looked at as being crapped on, right? Like, oh, that person does a trade, they're less than, right? Yeah. And I want to touch on the education part because I think the number one thing is education and awareness. We need to increase the awareness of the benefits of trades and have people stop looking down on them. I saw a brother, I'm not going to call his name. He's I think he's in the C-suite of an exempt company in Bermuda. This brother like put some of his carpentry work and stuff on social media at times and so on. Like he doesn't do it full time, but he has that trade to, not pay other people for stuff. I'm sure if his company merged and, people were being let go, he would have something to fall back on, right? Because he knows how to use his hands. But I think education and awareness is key in terms of, understanding job stability is the most important. I guarantee you, right? When you look at the numbers that, in these trades, you probably, the chances of being made redundant or laid off or let go are probably way less than that company that you feel very comfortable at and you're living that good life, right? So education and awareness, competitive salaries, and opportunities for advancement. Another thing, Larry, you mentioned, you're talking about your time in the schools, early exposure, like getting children into these spaces very early in life.
And that doesn't happen.
I grew up around tradesmen. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, my uncles, my father, like all of them. Construction, carpentry, electricians. Me, I didn't want to do any of it.
Yeah. But you was exposed with it. I think when we talk about the formal education, it's not happening until maybe middle school, and the level of exposure isn't the same as the other traditional forms of, or what we would consider learning and things like that. So until it becomes, like even the way how it says, oh, we need a trade school because it's separate and stuff. And I don't know how I necessarily feel about it. But to me, when you explain it like that, it still seems like it's a secondary option, and it shouldn't be. It should be included as a main option.
I concur. Let's go to the audience. Audience, what are your thoughts? How can we encourage more young people to consider trades? And just want to, again, thank you to Maya, because to those who may not know what trades are, I should put some pictures up. There's so many different ones. It can be plumber, it can be construction, it can be carpentry. There's a number of different things that can be considered trades. Here's some examples of trades. Thank you, Maya. You've got, again, electricians, HVAC techs, plumbers, masons, carpenters, crane operators. There's a number of things throughout the construction industry. Hairstyling actually is a trade, folks. It is a trade, believe it or not. Welding, and I guess the question to ask in all of this, how many Bermudians do we have in these spaces? These are the statistics we need. How many Bermudians do we have in these spaces? That's a question that we need to ask. Thanks so much, Maya. But go back to the audience. How can we encourage more people to consider trades? Kenton Trott says, one reason I started my business is to get young people into the trades. Just this week, we had 2 young people working with my crew to give them a taste for the trades. There you go. Well, yeah, nice. You make a good point about me. I was exposed to it very early. But my exposure led me to not wanting to do it.
Yeah.
I think one of the concerns, Larry, that I think we're going to be afraid to touch on is, especially within the Black community, we started thinking that a college degree was worth more, right?
But I think it's built in at the early stages through education, right?
Yeah, that pipeline. And so we kind of pushed people that way to say, oh no, I experienced it when I was working in a talk, one of Bermuda's radio stations doing a talk show. And I was at Johnson & Wales at the time doing my master's. And I think, it's a tourism hospitality school, right? And a gentleman called, I've told this story on the show before, called, I don't want my, spending all that money on my child's education and come back working on someone's front desk, right? So even working in the hospitality industry is frowned upon to many people, right? It's not this big office job that, people want their children to have. Even media, oh, that doesn't pay anything. Why are they doing that, right? Look, at the end of the day, your effort will be reflected in what you're paid. Your pay will be reflected by the effort and the work that you do, regardless of industry.
Yeah.
That's it. So I don't like the idea of looking down on different industries. Industries don't reflect a person's ability to do a job and do it well.
Yeah. And once you get older, you realize how much money these guys are raking in. Like, you call a plumber for an emergency 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
You will be paying a pretty penny per hour. Same with the electrician. And at the end of the day, they deserve to be paid for their worth, just like anybody else deserves to be paid for their worth. But it's not encouraged. It's only encouraged when I think people look at someone and they're saying, oh, they're not necessarily doing or hurt. Well, maybe we should get them to do this. The same in sports. Okay, maybe he'll be a sportsman because he's not doing this. They all need to be looked at on the same playing field.
Indeed. Well, let's go through these final few comments before we go to bring Maya in for the Daily on News Break. Marquita Lee says, I was saying heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, HVAC. Yeah. See, I think for one. Manuela John says, we consider male-dominated jobs as trades, but isn't dressmaking also trade? Yes, it is. And thank you, Maya, for Maya shared that list. It's a lot of stuff that's not just what considered male-dominated jobs, like, mason, carpentry, and electricians and the like. Kenton Trott says, as Larry said, for years when I was younger, the trades were not pushed as a viable career. I'm not going to be honest. I said, I'm going to be honest. People saw who my father was and my uncles, and they tried to push me towards the trades all my life. And I was the one that said, hell no. I did not want to do it. I just wasn't. No, again, my regret is that I didn't take it on to remember how to do most of the stuff.
Right.
That's my regret. But I knew that was not for me. But at least I was exposed to it to make that decision for myself, Yeah. So that, I get it. Anthony Peets says, early introduction, read trades, important, understand trades work, and highly skilled. In 1985 at St. George's Sac, our scholars engaged in the curriculum. Bermuda built by tradesmen. Yeah, how many Bermudians do we have in the trades now, though? Kenton Trott says, if I could rewind the clock 20 years, I would have continued in the trades. I think a lot of us would regret that. Charles H. Jeffs II says, I agree with Larry. We often say, quote, people can use their hands, end quote, as if they don't have to use their mind as well. Change the conversation. Exactly. And just touch on that, Larry, for anyone that's just tuning in, your point, because it was extremely valid.
Yeah, I was just saying, when I was in these schools, sometimes it was almost, the narrative was pushed like, okay, well, they're necessarily doing well in the traditional subjects or things, but let's try and get them and go to the trades like it's something secondary. And I think we just need to shift the conversation to include it as, no, this is a viable option, just like doctors, lawyers, and accountants and things that we like.
Yeah. I got you. And again, as I think about it, I can't stand that conversation. Acting as if people are less than. I always, and I'll say this, I always valued my uncles, my father, my grandfather, my great grandfather, who I was privileged to know and go to work with a lot. I always saw these people as, dang, they're not working for anyone. They work for their clients. That's it. So for me, it was never anything to look down on. It was like, that's what I finally am as of April 1st, 2024, 3 days ago. I am my father. I am my uncle. I am my grandfather. I am my great grandfather. I am my mother. I am my aunt. Happy birthday, auntie. It's your birthday today, 75 years. We got you, auntie. But all that to say, I may not have been in the trades, but I got the entrepreneurial aspect. I got that from them. So I never looked down on trades. I wasn't taught to be that way. These are people that found a way to make a living and provide for their families. Let's go through these final comments because we have Maya's got a full news break, and then we've got Matthew Francis coming up. We're talking about foot health today. Anthony Pete says children are captive in schools. Intentionally in all curriculums, invite them in. My dad went to schools and showed how he used subject areas. My son does this now. I love that. B. Denise Hollis says they need to bring back the community education classes. I did tiling. I wanted to do electrical and car maintenance. Let's talk about that. Maybe we can reach out someone in government. My mom used to teach sewing at the community education.
I did one. I actually taught a community education class for the coach to 5K.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and it's a way to learn. It's a way to learn. Barclay Inc. says interest in the trades has died out. Okay, but the question is, how can we drive that? That's what we're talking about. So let me go through some things for Barclay. So number one, education and awareness. Early exposure, exposing children, as Larry said, exposing. I was lucky because I came from a family like that. Partnerships. Fostering partnerships between educational institutions, trade organizations, like how many construction companies actually have partnerships with schools? Adopt a school, something like that. Job placements, right? Offering young people not just internships, but scholarships and paid opportunities. Promotion of diversity, right? We talk about diversity all around. Recruit some women. Yolanda this from BAC Group, to me, was a great person to speak to the diversity and the opportunities for women. Financial incentives, speak about it. Larry mentioned earlier, we always look at it like it's their less than. These people have made a living to be able to support their families. That person who is an electrician, someone has something happen with the lights overnight, right? Only house in the neighborhood. Who they call an electrician? Okay, Miss Parker, I could come up the house. I'll get up now. These people need their electricity, right? Highlight success stories. I don't think we've done a great job of this. Yeah. Again, BAC Group, we had Miss Yolanda on. We highlighted her achievements in that space as a woman. Let's share these. Make young women believe that they too can do a trade. It's not just for men, right? Modernize perceptions. How do we do that?
That's going to be different. That's going to be difficult because of the impact of social media. And real quick, I often see on social media like the certain types of man that a woman should look for, and it never involves a man that's working with his hands or a trade. You know what I mean? That's too messy. Are you in a suit? Are you that type of thing? So the social media part will be different because I think it just feeds off of what we've learned all our life, which is it's almost a secondary option.
Yeah. Let's just go through these final few. Tanya Cheeseman says government used to have the community program that included the trade, I believe. I don't know what happened to it, but maybe look at how it can be brought back. Yes, someone said that. Arthur C. Phillips says, I recall when I was in high school, a shift happened in Bermuda. I noticed that as a student, we were encouraged to go into the IB industry. They tried to get me to go in the IB industry bad. I'm like, I was not built for this. This is not who I am. I just want to show the video one more time, just so people have an idea of why this conversation is so important. Then we'll bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour news break. But this is not based on Bermuda, but Bermuda, we can definitely relate.
Crazy statistic. What do you think the average age is in the construction industry?
Some people say it's like 25. It's actually closer to 50. But the weird thing is, it used to be way younger, but for every 7 people that retire or die in the construction industry, only 1 comes in. Imagine your job site has 100 guys. 50 of them retire, and instead of getting 50 new guys, you only get 7.
How do they think 7 guys are going to get as much work done as 50?
They won't. And eventually, construction workers are going to become so valuable, they'll easily make over 100 an hour.
Yeah. And I just want to go to Instagram real quickly because I keep forgetting that we are live on Instagram and the comments only come up over there. But Rabid Dalama says trade should be a part of the school curriculum. And then Mr. Matt BDA said the majority of houses in Fairylands are owned by contractors. Those guys built these houses and make good money renting out to reinsurance. It's a great career option for many. All right, let's bring in Maya Palacio for the Daily Hour news break. See if she's got any thoughts. And don't forget, we've got Matt Francis coming up. We're talking about foot health today. Stick with us.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
Feeling good this morning. I'm very interested in this conversation for sure. I was just in the back, like agreeing with you, Marshall, about like how they kind of instilled what was a viable career and what was like actually like successful and what was kind of just seen as meh, like, you know. And I was just like, wow, they really made us think that if you can't work with your hands, that's crazy. Because I'm like thinking about my family, like you, Jamal. Like my papa's a construction built, like he built a whole house. Like I want someone who can do that, like like, you know, something like that, like having those skills, those crafts. And I was sitting back here kind of like giggling to myself, like imagine like you're both kind of like figuring out how to put a shelf on the wall, and then you're looking at, you know, each other like, oh, no one knows how to do this type thing. But it's just like those simple things that need to be.
You said something just now that I don't even think the audience we really understand. It's not just about the career and the money you make. It's also about the money you'll save by having the ability to do things. So you just said your grandfather built his house. My family, my grandfather, my uncle, they built their own. They didn't have to pay someone to do it.
Nope.
Yeah.
You know, so having, as I said, when my boy said it at dinner, like, I should not have a job. Like you literally are, and again, it's something I regret, but you know, YouTube, yeah, we can go on YouTube and learn a lot, but it's nothing like having the actual skill to know that 5 years down the road, my electrical work's not going to start a fire. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I think this is an important conversation. We can talk about this forever, but yeah.
Indeed. Well, good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour News Break brought to you by the great people at People's Pharmacy. So starting out our news, Teo did mention about some traffic offenses that happened over the Easter holiday. And I'm just going to throw in a little bit more about some things that other arrests that would have happened over the weekend you probably don't know about. Here are 3 things to definitely note.
There was also an attempted robbery before 3 a.m. on April 1st. Police attended the hospital in response to a report of a male that showed up seeking treatment for a knife wound to his hand. Investigations revealed that the victim was walking to his car, which was parked on Angle Street, Pembroke, when he was allegedly approached by 3 unknown males dressed in all black and traveling on 2 dark-colored motorcycles. They allegedly demanded a chain he wore around his neck, but he refused. A struggle reportedly ensued, during which the male sustained lacerations to his hand. No property was taken. The suspects then rode off along Angle Street onto Union Street and made good their escape. Meanwhile, around 8:45 p.m. on Saturday, March 30th, police and fire and rescue services personnel attended a report of a vehicle on fire on the Glebe Road, Pembroke. On arrival, officers found a light truck engulfed. The fire was extinguished by the Bermuda Fire and Rescue Services. Subsequently, inquiries led to suspicions that the fire was maliciously set. And just before 12:30 a.m. on Saturday, March 30th, police received a report that a male was waving a knife and threatening people in the area of Dundonald Street in Pembroke. Officers engaged the subject, who dropped a bag he had in his possession and ran off. After a brief foot pursuit, the subject was apprehended at the intersection of Church Street, Court Street. He was arrested for possession of a bladed article in a public space.
I think on Monday I was like, oh, that was good. We had a quiet weekend, but
a lot more happened, huh?
A lot more happened indeed. Yeah, and all these matters are still like under investigation and ongoing. So if anyone knows anything about these, they could definitely contact the police, 295-0011.
Please do. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, in more news, UNESCO. So we talked about UNESCO last month. I was saying how they were coming to Bermuda at the end of last month, so in March. So here's a little bit update about what we know because they did arrive. And as mentioned about the visit, UNESCO's mission is focused on the historic town of St. George and its related fortifications. Now, this visit marks UNESCO's first return since its initial visit in 2000, reflecting the significant changes and development efforts made since then. And Minister Birch said by inviting UNESCO to assess and advise on the town of St. George's, we are demonstrating our focus on its revitalization and the broader economic research of Bermuda. Now, these meetings talked about the future direction of St. George's and addresses concerns and seeking input on development and preservation efforts, but they're also really important in understanding whether or not Bermuda is going to keep that World Heritage status. So that's where we're at right now, but don't look for a quick report because UNESCO's report is expected to be released within 8 to 10 weeks and will be presented to the cabinet, stakeholders for discussion, and then eventually we'll move to Parliament and then to the public for us to know what's going on and what the status is on the town of St. George.
Oh, I'm hopeful for them. Honestly, I'm hopeful for St. George. You all know I have my bias. That's my favorite place in Bermuda, peaceful, loving, just the architecture, the history. I hope they don't lose that status. I do.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a good thing for everyone included, not just St. George's, but it's something that I hope they do keep.
Oh, definitely, 100%. So definitely looking for some updates on that when they can be presented to us in about 8 to 10 weeks, they say. So just look out for that in the news breaks. All right. In other news, in the first quarter of 2024 has marked a milestone for Bermuda's cruise tourism industry. This coming from the Minister of Transport, Wayne Burbett. He said a total of 14 cruise ships called between January and March brought an estimated of 43,114 passengers. This quarter's visitor numbers are exceptional and reflect Bermuda's enduring appeal as a premier cruise destination. Now, this sets a new benchmark for the hospitality sector and a promising start to a traditional busy cruise season. Now, he also added that looking ahead, Bermuda anticipates hosting approximately 578,000 passengers through the year, projecting a total of estimated economic activity of $228.7 million.
Okay. Let's keep them coming.
Right there. Now, for all the students looking for, different objectivities or things to do, like we're talking about trades. Well, this one's actually for the 2024 Public Service Bursary Award Scheme. Now, the Bursary Award Scheme identifies qualified individuals who will meet the future needs of government departments who are seeking to attract individuals specialized in certain areas. Now, moving on to more information about how you can actually receive this award. There are some particulars in it, but basically, if you want more information about that, you can go to forms.gov.bm/bursary. But these jobs are very opposite of the trades, as they have to do with a lot more office administration and things of the like that they do still need within the government. And the application deadline is April 26.
Apply.
Always apply. And if you didn't know, yesterday I actually got to chat with Michael Dunkley, the Honorable Michael Dunkley, who retired. And we did have quite the engaging conversation in the first half of the interview. I kind of went and played a game with him. It was called On a Scale of 1 to 10, I like asking this question a lot. So I threw out a lot of questions to him. And here's a clip of one of the questions which I asked, and you get to see the answer that he gave. How much do you believe the people of Bermuda have trust for the current Premier, Honorable David Burt?
Wow, these questions are getting real tough right now. From what I've heard, I think the trust has waned. I think when the PLP took power, obviously they were voted in, and people vote for a number of different reasons. But from what I've heard now, I think that trust meter for the Honorable Premier is less than 50%.
So you're going to say lower than 5 out of 10?
Oh, sure, yeah, 4.
All right. So a little bit biased opinion there, as rightfully so. But I had to also ask him what he thought about himself. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good do you believe you were at being the Premier of Bermuda?
Well, I don't want to give myself a grade on that because, I hold myself to a high standard, but I did the best that I could, and I feel comfortable with the job that I did. And since I can't push the rewind button, I can't go back and revisit some of the things I could have done in a better way. But I gave it my all. I served with honesty and integrity. And so I'm comfortable with the job I did. And I think a lot of people respect me for the way I handled the job.
You don't want to give us a scale? You gave us a lot of explanations there. Might as well put a grade to that.
I grade myself very hard, right? So, it wouldn't. I certainly am not callous enough to think that I give myself a 10, but I would say a 7. Then, since you forced that on me, and I got to answer your questions. I've never done questions in politics. I'm not going to do them now.
All right. So Larry, that was your MP.
Why you want to come to me? I have no comment. I have no comment.
Okay. No comment. Okay.
Definitely ask some questions so people know. Like basically after Dunkley did retire on March 31st, they basically kind of have 2 months to pick who the next constituent's going to be for, constituency 10. So we're kind of looking at a timeline here, guys, and hopefully either we're going to get a by-election or we're going to get a general election. But they do have 2 months, according to the laws and constitution, to pick the next candidate for that seat. So,
yeah, it was a great conversation. Props to you. It was really, really nice to hear him. Definitely very different from the Daily Hour in terms of Maya makes them very comfortable before she starts going at them. Yeah.
I listened to a lot of your lives, Maya, but I couldn't listen to that one.
Okay, next. What else you got, Maya?
If you listen to any part of it, I would definitely go for the end of that conversation where I asked them strategic questions on the very, very things that have been talking about in this community. That
let me just provide clarity, folks. Larry just doesn't really have feel for politicians, and it's a politician thing. All right, cool.
All right, closing out with our sports news as always, and here are some Carifta track updates about Jake Brisling, who actually just competed in the 5,000 meter. So here's a little update.
He claimed a silver in a strong finish from an even stronger race around the track, keeping pace as others in the race were being overlapped. The Bermudian was well ahead. Here's an audio clip from the finish.
Run this race all alone. Here is the Bermudian coming through now, Jake Brisling. He will be the silver medalist.
1,500 meter bronze, personal best trained in the United Kingdom. Bronze here as well in 2023. So he will be pleased with his work at the 2024 Carifta Games.
I just want to say I just congratulate to our Bermudian brother, but thank you for the commentator for listening to me the other day when I said it's Bermudian, not Bermudan. So appreciate that. What's the weather looking like, Maya?
Well, today the weather is actually looking kind of good, kind of bad. It's a mixture of both, but early sun periods, but then rain and showers will develop toward the evening time. So the winds are going to be looking quite strong later on in the day, even maybe potentially some gale force winds. So, make sure you get home safe when you're on those bikes, and also just close up things. It's going to be 74 degrees high. So hopefully you get a good start with some sun, but not looking too sharp at the end of the day.
All righty. What's the days of the year today, Larry?
Today we have World Drummers Day, maestros of rhythm, sculpting soundscapes with percussive artistry. Their beats infuse life symphony with pulse and passion. So we're celebrating World Drummers Day.
Like drummers, like these drums, like gumbays and stuff?
Oh, any type.
Any type? You like it, Maya?
Yeah, I do.
All right, let's do some drum real quickly. It's my aunt's 75th birthday, man. I just want to wish my aunt. She has, when I was young, many people thought she was my mom or grandmother. Don't tell I said grandmother, but she's been supportive. She's always in the audience when she can be. Takes care of my nana. So you probably see her in the audience sometime. If you see her in the audience today, Janet Maynard, happy 75th birthday to you, and I'm wishing you a very great day and healthy and happy year ahead. All right, Maya?
Happy birthday, Auntie.
Happy birthday, and Aries Queen, I'm sure.
Current Sanchez. You're one of those people too, man.
Yeah, second day.
Yes.
Realize.
Guys, we don't know what that is. We'll see you soon, Maya. Folks, do not go anywhere. Matthew Francis coming up. We're talking about your foot health. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. I go anyplace else.
Welcome back to the big show. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I am Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Please do not forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to Matthew Francis from Atlantic Podiatry. All right, they are cheering hard for you. Greetings, Matthew. How are you?
Hey, morning, guys. Long time listener, so yeah, really excited to be on with you.
No problem. Right. Real quickly, and this may be a silly question to you, but would you consider what you do a trade?
Do you know what? So I've been listening in, and I've been having that debate too. I would say it's probably kind of a little bit of a halfway in between. Although there is like a higher educational part of, obviously knowing anatomy. Things like podiatry, physiotherapy, they're very hands-on. So I use we design orthotics insoles. I use grinders. We use tools. And so again, this is one of those careers when I was coming up, I was told doctor, lawyer. And like you said, construction was always that kind of, if you can't be that A-star student, why don't you be a nurse? Why don't you be a plumber? And it was, so podiatry, again, for me, was a career that I kind of fell into because I wasn't the A-star student. So I wasn't going to be the doctor and the lawyer, but I knew I wanted to help people.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Because I'm thinking about it as we're having these conversations, I'm always thinking how we can tie it into the guest and the daily focus conversation. So thank you for that. But for those who don't know, tell us a bit about your background a bit further and what exactly do you do and what's a podiatrist?
Got you. So yeah, my name's Matthew, owner of Atlantic Podiatry. I opened this clinic actually pretty much exactly a year ago today. I've lived on the island for the last 11 years. I'm not fortunate enough to be a Bermudian. I married a Bermudian, so I've moved over here 11 years ago, worked for another clinic for 10 years, and then kind of decided that, you know what, I wanted to have better control about how things were changing. As we all know, cost of living and the cost of health is rising. And so I kind of saw this as my opportunity to try and do what bits I can to try and help. So opened Atlantic Podiatry. We're located in the Dallas building, so right in the middle of town. Podiatry, like a lot of the healthcare sector, it's not something that we actively talk about a lot. So podiatrists are kind of your foot health people. So ingrown toenails, corns, calluses, if you're diabetic or you have any kind of health issues that are somewhat related to the lower limb, someone like a podiatrist is your guy to speak to. Podiatry, like I said, as a whole, is a career that is not pushed for a lot of people, and it's not something that people know exists. If you have major medical insurance, you are covered for podiatry visits. Some insurers will cover 6 visits, some will cover 12 visits. We actually have an affordable healthcare initiative where those that don't have insurance, we also offer 35% discounts to ensure that it is affordable to come in, because time and time again we hear, and it's the same diet, exercise, and healthcare. We're all saying, well, it's too expensive, so I gotta either keep the lights on or I've got to look after my healthcare. And we all do it. We all sacrifice ourselves,
Yeah.
So you mentioned, I want to go back because you mentioned like some of the people that require podiatrists. Some people go through diabetes, ingrown toenails, and the like. What are some of the most common foot problems you come across, and how can we prevent these problems?
So Bermuda's population, so I studied up in Scotland. Scotland's population and Bermuda's population from a healthcare point of view are actually very similar. Both of our populations have high instances of obesity and high instances of diabetes. So we get a lot of patients that, it's diabetic foot checks. So if you are someone that's diabetic, generally speaking, as long as you're looking after yourself, you're probably, hopefully not going to have any real health issues. However, those that aren't able to manage it, whether it's they're not taking their medication, they can't afford it, or they're not educated on how they're trying to keep themselves healthy, we can start to get issues like tingling and numbness in the feet. We start to lose feeling in the feet. Bermuda also has one of the highest per capita rates of amputations in the developed world. So, and again, that partly is down to things like our healthcare. We need to look at preventative medicine. And you will hear on the radio all the time, all of the insurers now, that's their big buzzword, is preventative medicine. Because the reality is that the only way to stop our increasing healthcare is to try and catch these little problems when they're little problems before they develop into these serious ulcers and wounds that take us into the hospital, that then puts a strain on our hospital system. And obviously, many of us have thoughts about our hospital system and obviously how that operates. And so generally people always are wanting to avoid going into hospitals if they can. But yeah, podiatry wise, like I said, we see everything, the mundane day-to-day stuff, arch pain, toe pain. We've got obviously some of our younger patients. We see children and seniors. As we get older, it's difficult to cut our toenails. So sometimes it's just routine stuff, trimming toenails, corns, and calluses. For younger people, maybe you're having issues. It's just you're learning to walk, or you're starting to walk. Feet are rolling in, feet are rolling out. You do sports, perhaps you're getting kind of injuries or aches and pains when you're exercising. And so again, the big push really is your body will tell you when something's wrong. And I think we generally as a coach need to get better about, okay, so let me just check these little warning signs now. That kind of ties back into, our general lifestyle. If there's issues going on at your house, those leaks, those drips, those little cracks, you catch it. And that's what we all do. Sometimes we don't do that for ourselves.
Agreed.
Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Matthew, please send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. Let's speak about footwear. So how does footwear impact our foot health, and what should people look for in shoes? Like some people just like, well, I like Jordans, that's what I'm wearing. I like sandals, that's what I'm wearing. I like heels, that's what I'm wearing. Like what speak to us about the impact of footwear.
So generally speaking, when you put a shoe on, your foot is going to treat that shoe as if it's an extension of you. So you're kind of, the textbook advice is that the shoe should only allow the same movement as your foot can do. So use an example. This is my shoe. So if I was to grab your foot and we were to squeeze your heel and your toe, the only place your foot bends is in that what they call the toe box in the front. You want to avoid a shoe that when you squeeze it, that thing kind of folds in half. Only because then when your foot is inside that shoe, your foot's going to start to try and control that motion. It's tough when it comes to just being a general consumer out there, because as with most things in life, it's all about sales pitch for a lot of shoe manufacturers. So you will hear things like motion controlling shoes and anti-pronatory and shock absorption. Now, the reality is that a lot of this stuff, it's marketing, and it turns that $80 shoe to a $380 shoe. That kind of test that I just showed you there, if you're in a day-to-day shoe, you're going to be on your feet a lot, you need something with a little more support. I'm very realistic. Like, I have shoes as well that look good, but I know I can't wear them for 8 hours a day. And the same high-heeled shoes for, you ladies out there, you know that they're uncomfortable if you wear them for a long time, but yeah, it's finding that balance between kind of fashion and function. But again, your body will tell you when it doesn't like what you're doing.
real quickly, Larry, before you jump in, I remember one year, I used to go support Larry running during Bermuda Day. And one year, Larry, the race finished at National Stadium. And you didn't have one of your best runs. And I said, what happened? And you said something about your shoes. Do you remember that?
That particular year, sorry, my neighbors decided to cut grass. No. I wore brand new socks, and they cut all up my feet, and it was just burning, and it caused blisters. So that was very painful. Yeah. But it's interesting that you bring all these things up, because I'm looking at it from a running perspective, and the new carbon fiber plates that they have in shoes, and those buzzwords, you often hear it, right? And having had plantar fasciitis and heel spurs, I get where you're coming from. But how important is foot health to our overall well-being?
So April is actually Foot Health Awareness Month. So that's kind of why I'm joining you guys in general to talk about it. I always tell people kind of feet and teeth are kind of one of the two hardest working parts of your body. And I think generally we take these things for granted until they start to give us issues. Most of us are on our feet in some form or another all day, every day. And so, things like plantar fasciitis, which is arch pain, textbook kind of presentation for that is normally first thing in the morning when you get out of bed. Super painful. You're hobbling to the bathroom. Then it starts to warm up and it eases off. Stuff like that, it's very common. And it's very easy once you start to get these aches and pains in your feet, it slows you down. So now, you start reducing your exercise. It will change a lot of the habits and a lot of your lifestyle, which then obviously has knock-on effects. So again, that's why we're kind of touching back on this preventative medicine. We try and catch these little things, which all of these things can be treated. If we can catch these things early, then we can look at overall helping you improve your health. Doctors are always telling us exercise more, drink less, eat better food. So, and again, getting out there and getting moving is going to be one of those things that you really need to do.
Yeah. So let's go a little deeper. We talked a bit about it, but what are some of these signs? What are some signs that someone should see a podiatrist, and when is it appropriate to seek medical attention for foot pain?
Gotcha. So the benefit with podiatry is it's something you don't need a referral to see us. So you don't need to go through that extra step. You're going to be looking at, again, like we said, your body gives you warning signs. So if you are finding you're getting aches and pains first thing in the morning, maybe your feet are starting to feel numb. So sometimes a sign that your nervous system, or sort of the nerves in the feet, are starting to change is that patients will describe it, although they're not wearing a shoe or a sock, it feels like they're wearing a thick sock. So they start to get this kind of numbness in the feet, and things aren't feeling right. Diabetes especially, your body is very smart. And so generally with a diabetic, the issue is caused by excess sugar in the bloodstream. And what your body will do is it wants to save the core, so it will push that excess sugar as far away from the core as it can. So up to the head. So that's why diabetics, or some people start to have eye issues, which is why we recommend regular eye checks, and it will push it down to the periphery. So hands and feet. So again, usually diabetics are kind of a good example. Or if you're having sort of cardiovascular issues, so heart issues, you'll start to get tingling and numbness in the hands. They'll start to feel either really hot or really cold. So again, your body will tell you these warning signs. And if it is something that, either yourself or a loved one maybe has something or you're worried about, again, because you don't need a referral to see someone like a podiatrist, come in and have that chat with us. We work very closely with doctors, surgeons, physios, everybody. So we can always kind of help with the referral pathway if it is something that we think we need to do a bit more investigation.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you talk about, dealing with it once it happens, because folks, it's not just going to go away. It will come back up, and you want to deal with it one time. But I'm moving on. I love the shoe demonstration also at the Daily Hour when you're able to share with the audience. It's awesome, those types of tips. Can you share any more tips for maintaining good foot hygiene?
Yeah, so Bermuda's environment, as we all know, it's high humidity. So a lot of patients we see have things like fungal toenails. So that's when the nails get really kind of thick and dark. You also can get athlete's foot. It's the same fungus that is on the nail, and it moves down into the skin. So you start to get kind of dry, scaly skin. For a lot of us, we take our shoes off after a long day, and if we put them away, which I'm not always good at doing that, but if we do, we usually throw them in a cupboard, and it's normally the water cupboard where like our water tanks are. Fungus and bacteria love sweat, and they love dark, warm environments. So for a lot of us, you're sweating in those shoes all day, you're feeding the bacteria and the fungus, and then you put them in a nice warm environment. So, you may get things like smelly, kind of sweaty shoes. So that's a bacteria issue, very easy to clean. You can buy antifungal kind of a spray. The easiest solution, which is a bit of a strange one, put your shoes inside a plastic bag, stick them in the freezer for 48 hours. Will kill off any of the fungus and the bacteria. Like I said, generally kind of your day-to-day foot health. Yeah, if you're getting those kind of, you want to make sure you're drying in between the toes as best as you can, because again, high humidity environment. And then look for any kind of damage, that you may be getting. Are your nails getting thick? Are they starting to get discolored? A lot of people, when they get to that point, they start to go to the pharmacy, and then they're buying these very expensive over-the-counter treatments for things like fungal nails and athlete's foot. And again, what you've got to remember is that these products they're marketing toys. And so they're not going to work very well because they want you to keep buying these things. And it's the same with the kind of the over-the-counter insoles like the Dr. Scholl's. They do an okay job, but they're not meant to really fix the problem, because if they did, they wouldn't sell that product over and over again. So that's where someone like myself, you come in and it's in my interest to get you fixed. And so, to be honest, even sometimes from a cost efficiency point of view, coming in to see someone like me can save you, thousands of dollars potentially. I've had patients that have spent 15 years trying to treat fungal nails. They've flown overseas to do laser treatments. They've had all these different creams and ointments they've been rubbing in. And something like that, we can normally fix in an appointment or two. So again, sometimes actually seeing a healthcare practitioner will also save you money as well as give you peace of mind.
Got it.
Excellent.
Good info. Thank you for that. Let's go to the audience. Audience, if you have any questions or comments, please send them through. We've got Michael Daniels asking, what can you do for people with flat feet?
So I myself have pancake flat feet. And now there are a lot of professional sports stars, runners that have flat feet, and it gives them no issues. Some of us, myself included, I get a lot of issues, arch pain and things like that. So potentially something like plantar fasciitis. There's a couple of options. Like I said, obviously that footwear demonstration I gave, something like that is a really good start. Just make sure that you're giving your foot as much support as you can get. The next stage after that is to look at something like an orthotic and insole. So like I said, you can look at buying something over the counter. We make custom orthotics. So we use carbon fiber. So obviously, like we discussed, carbon fiber is kind of the new toy, and especially in the medical industry. It's not like these big, thick medical devices. A lot of people, a generation or two ago, you were told about an insole or an orthotic, this great, big, thick device. You had to go up 2 or 3 shoe sizes. Now these things are very thin, very comfortable. They pop right in your shoes. You wouldn't even really be able to tell you're wearing them. So that's a good sort of long-term issue if you keep having issues with flat feet. That's the option I went down myself. I kept getting plantar fasciitis. I kept getting heel pain. I did physiotherapy. I did all the different lasers, shockwave, and it didn't work for me. And so orthotics were a really good option. But 9 times out of 10, when someone comes into the office with me and they have a foot issue, it's mostly a footwear thing. Either the shoes have got a little worn out or they're not giving you enough support. So that's always a good start. Just see where you go from there.
All righty. Got another question. Maya is asking, are there specific conditions or diseases that commonly lead to amputations in Bermuda other than diabetes?
So diabetes is obviously our forerunner. Any kind of vascular issues as well. So anything that's going to compromise your blood supply. First, we have a lot of patients or a lot of people that have had amputations from bike accidents. As you know, we have high incidences of road fatality and road injuries as well. And again, unfortunately, sometimes the way that Bermuda is set up, we're a small island, we have one hospital. And so sometimes it's either the individual or our health system isn't set up to get that patient treated quickly and efficiently. You will see a lot of patients that will go into the hospital and they will have an infection, a serious infection in their big toe. Well, so the big toe is amputated, but because it's not caught soon enough, they're then staying in hospital for another 6 months and another amputation and another amputation. And to be honest, that in itself that's an expensive and costly procedure from a financial point of view, and also for the patient's health. So really, it's, I think it's going to have to be a bit of a mental shift for the healthcare providers and us as a population to start being a little more proactive and kind of trying to look after ourselves better, which is easier said than done because we all know how expensive everything is. So yeah, but amputations, really, there's a variety of usually it's a traumatic injury, but most likely, yes, it can be something like diabetes, or if you're having like cardiovascular issues.
Okay. Media Maya is also asking opinion on the toe shoes, because I like them, but are they really good for your feet?
Great advertising. It was one of those companies that it was kind of the new buzz. I think it was about a year or two ago. There was a lot of research or theoretical research coming out about the benefits of barefoot running. I actually did a bit of a deep dive into the actual research and the actual studies. There isn't a great deal of research, and there isn't a great deal of long-term studies to prove whether barefoot running is good for you or for not. So it's one of those things I always tell people, if you like it and it feels good and your foot is not giving you any issues, then fine, absolutely no problem at all. Each one of us is different and none of us are textbooks. So what works for you might not work for somebody else. I myself know I can't wear those kind of shoes because I just need that little extra support under my feet. But I've got plenty of patients that wear them all day, every day. I've had patients do 24th of May in them. So again, it's kind of, everything has to be tailored to each person.
We've got Maya again. Media Maya says, how many, if any, Bermuda athletes or Olympians do you help? What does a session look like?
So I do see a fair few. Obviously, a lot of these guys, once you get up to the kind of the professional levels, they're training off island quite a lot. And so they have all of their kind of systems and people in place over there. We do see a lot of people kind of on the build up and post things like 24th of May. Usually it's kind of, like you said, getting the feet ready, doing repair, and just kind of making everything comfortable. But yeah, we do see a lot of sports guys, aspiring people as well. Obviously, we got the New Year kicks in and everyone has those kind of New Year's resolutions to start improving their health as well. So even it can just be a lot of people that are getting themselves up and active again and kind of want to put themselves out there. But yeah, we can see pretty much anyone out there that has anything they're worried about. That's my job to try and help.
Charles, just a second. He's asking, just since you mentioned the marathon thing, is it better to see a podiatrist before or after you do something like end-to-end or Bermuda Day Marathon if you don't normally do those things?
To be honest, either. So if you've done something like marathon or the end-to-end, if you've done it before, you're probably going to know what to expect from your feet. If it's something you haven't done before, then yeah, it may be worth coming in. It can be something as simple as we can look at like the toenails. Most common issue people will get when they do these kind of prolonged walks or runs is that the toenails get black, they get damaged, they start to lift off. It's usually something as simple as just trimming the toenails. So a good rule of thumb for anyone out there, if you are going to be doing anything like that, kind of grab your finger and rub your finger up. If you're catching the toenail, then it's probably going to be too long because what's going to happen inside the shoe, it's going to keep catching and lift it off. So it's just a case of trimming it back. But again, yeah, we do a lot of kind of pre-prep for a lot of these people. Again, you can come in afterwards and we can fix some of that damage, but prevention is always much better than trying to fix any of those issues that arise.
Larry, you had a question?
No, I just wanted to let you know that I have a deep appreciation for your reference to 24th of May. I just, all this Bermuda Day Marathon, it is 24th of May. So I
he loves that. All right, another one from Suzanne Ingham says, what is the copay for someone with private insurance and where are you located?
Yeah. Got you. So if you go on our website, atlantic-podiatry.com, or stick it into your favorite search engine, Atlantic Podiatry or Bermuda Podiatrist Matthew, hopefully the algorithm will push you in my way. I'm very open and upfront about all the procedures we do and our pricings. There is a tab on the top of the website that will have pricings. You can scroll down and depending on each insurer, it will tell you how many visits you're covered for and the number of visits you get per year. We also have just signed up with Age Concern. So we offer 10% discount to anyone that is an Age Concern member. And again, if you scroll down on the website, you will also see that we offer a 35% discount to anyone with no insurance or with HIP. Again, we're trying to make sure that people can afford to come in and see us. The last thing I want is for someone that really should have seen me to say, you know, I couldn't afford it. And again, if we get to that point, we can always work out some kind of a plan. Booking, if you are wanting to book an appointment, you can either give me a call on 533-2508, or our booking schedule is completely online as well. So 24 hours a day, you can access it. You go onto the website, again, atlantic-podiatry.com, scroll down to the book online, and then you can just log in. You'll see my whole schedule for the next couple of years, and you can book yourself in that way.
All right. Before you go, we have something, Anika D. Shields, and this ties into what I was going to ask you. She says, how many podiatrists are on island? How many are needed given the foot health issues you have mentioned? Should young Bermudians consider this as a career choice? What is the course and length of study? But I'm just going to add to that. What I was going to ask is, you mentioned you're celebrating 1 year pretty much today. And part of your 1 year celebration is that you're handing out a full podiatry scholarship with a value of $4,700. Speak to us about all of that if you can.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been a year, obviously, since we've opened the clinic. This year's actually 10 years as well that I've been married to my very patient Bermudian wife. So I'm hopefully going to start that process of getting my paperwork in. So kind of as a bit of a joint celebration, and also to help looking at investing in both Bermuda and Bermuda's healthcare in the future. Yep, we're offering a scholarship. So it's a $47,000 scholarship. So that will be full tuition fee for a Bermudian to go over to the UK and study. I'm biased, so I would personally like you to go up to Scotland, because obviously that's where I went, but also from a population comparative point of view, like I said, Scotland's population is very similar to ours. Edinburgh is also historically a very good medical city, but also a beautiful place to be. Podiatry, if you go onto bermudascholarships.com and type in Atlantic Podiatry or podiatry, it will come up with all of the information. There is, I think, the UCAS, there's, course codes, and it will give you exactly the criteria for it. But yeah, healthcare in general is something that I think, as well as the trades, Bermudians need to look at kind of claiming back for ourselves. There is, and again, somewhat kind of with construction, you don't really hear of redundancies in construction, and you don't really hear of redundancies in healthcare. There's not many careers nowadays where you can go to school or you can go and pick up a trade and you can be guaranteed a job kind of straight out the bat. And so with the scholarship, that's what we're offering. You'll be going over to the UK to study podiatry. It's going to be it's a 4-year intensive course. It's going to be both the undergraduate and the master's. It's a combined course. So it's going to be the equivalent of what would normally be about a 6 to 7 year degree. So it's going to be a little intense, but the idea is that we're going to fast track that Bermudian, and we're going to have them in 4 years, completely ready with 6, 7 to 8 years worth of real life experience. The degree will also have you sort of in clinics and practicing. You can then, hopefully you're going to come back to the island. I'll be offering you then a job. So you'll be straight into the clinic, straight into sort of helping and giving back to our community.
All right. Welcome. Hey, all that to say congratulations on 1 year, on your journey, on 10 years, going to become a Bermudian status-wise soon. And thank you for giving back. I think I speak for many when I say thank you, because it's not something that you have to do, but I think you appreciate and love the industry. But I think you, from what you've said today, you appreciate and love Bermuda and Bermudians as well. So thank you for this very informative conversation. And I look forward to communicating, more in the future, because foot issues don't seem like they're going anywhere.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And thank you guys. And like I said, anyone out there that is listening and you're worried or you have any worries, www.atlantic-podiatry.com, 533-2508. Don't worry. Trust me. I've seen it all. I've got people come in and be like, I got ugly toes. I have seen all kinds of feet. I would not be surprised. Whatever you say in this room, it doesn't go outside the room. So yeah, we'll get you.
All right. Matthew, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and all the best.
Thanks, guys. Stay safe, Bermuda.
All right. Matthew, Francis, Atlantic Podiatry. Folks, if you appreciated that conversation, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share that conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take a quick break. Come back after this, give our final thoughts, and the Daily Play too. You'll see what Larry's working with. Stick with us.
Considering the increasing challenges faced by financial institutions exacerbated by market volatility, the need for insurance protection is a critical component of the risk management framework. At Friesenbrook, our priority is to safeguard your assets with the most optimal and cost-effective risk management cover. Therefore, we deliver a full suite of competitive insurance products to protect your business. Call us on 296-3600 to learn more about our broking services.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Matthew Francis from Atlantic Podiatry for joining us today. Very important conversation. Again, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We appreciate your support. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these kind of conversations on a regular basis. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, Larry, it's the name of that place. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. All righty. Larry Marshall Jr., please name the 5 oceans of the world.
Atlantic, Indian, Pacific, Arctic. Is that Indian? Indian, Pacific. Oh, come on, Larry.
What's the final one, folks? He said Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, Arctic. What's the final one, folks? Let us know. Mediterranean is a sea, not the ocean.
Atlantic. I know this.
No, Celestian. It's not southern. Caribbean Sea, not ocean. They're kind of right, but they're not saying what it actually is. All right, I'll give it to you, audience. I'll give it to you. It is the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian, the Arctic, and the
Antarctic?
Yes.
Come on.
There you go. The Antarctic.
Yeah, because the Arctic's up top, the Antarctic's up top, and the sun.
Everyone was in the right region saying southern, but it's the Antarctic. It's the correct one, not southern. All right, so no one got that today. No one got that. All right, let's wrap it up there, Larry. Final thoughts on today's discussion about trades, and then obviously the conversation with Matthew Francis about podiatry.
Yeah, the trades, as I said before, I think I just want to see us to really recognize it and promote it for what it is, and it's something that's a viable option and not just maybe a secondary option. As far as with the podiatry discussion, excellent information. I always enjoy when we get the guests that are able to just really impart the wisdom and show us things that are able to help us. And I think an excellent job. As somebody who's had plantar fasciitis and heel spurs, I understand foot. I often roll my feet with a foot roller. So yeah, awesome conversation.
Indeed. Look, I can't say much more than I've already said regarding the trades. I think there's a lot of positive vibes when we discuss the trades. It's just about turning those vibes into actions. Again, with a trade, you'll always have a job. You'll always have an opportunity to provide for yourself. That's just the reality. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. Something will always go wrong. Someone will always need assistance getting it right. Or fixing it. So I would encourage anyone who, thinks that their job may be in jeopardy, or they just want to learn how to save money and fix things themselves, to just start simple. Go on YouTube and learn some things.
Yeah.
You have some courses at Bermuda College. A few people mentioned community education. Speak to your MPs about that kind of stuff. About bringing back those programs so that stuff. Sometimes it's really about what you can save, not what you make, right? So there's a lot of opportunities to make the trades work for us. As far as Matthew Francis, I greatly appreciate him providing the knowledge, the wisdom. Congratulations to him on 1 year. And hopefully there are some Bermudians interested in podiatry that can go out there and take advantage of the scholarship. Foot health is important. And we as a community need to figure out or understand the importance to ensure that we are giving ourselves the best chance to remain healthy in all aspects of our lives. Larry, do you have any daily inspiration for us?
I do. It is better to fail in originality than to succeed in imitation. And that's from Herman Melville.
I like that one.
Don't be a fraud.
Be yourself. All times, even in the bed. All right, folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I am Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and the great day. We are is out.